Hey, welcome to Sports and Politics with T. I'm your host, Tanya, and tonight we have made it back to Thursday, guys. Listen, I hope everybody has had a great week. Tomorrow is July the 4th, y'all, already. And I'm telling you, there's going to be so many people on the road traveling for this 3-day weekend. I know I'm off tomorrow, and I hope everybody enjoy with their family and friends on tomorrow and all this weekend. Tonight, we are going to talk about a lot of things that have taken place with the new bill that Trump just got signed. And let me tell you, there's a lot of people that are outraged. There's a lot of people that are upset. We're going to tackle this bill, and there's going to be tons of people that may lose health coverage and benefits because of this. Also, we're also going to talk about him talking about deporting American citizens. Oh, yes, honey. Like I said in my last video and previous videos, Donald Trump is now thinking about deporting American citizens. Now, he was already deporting illegal citizens or illegal immigrants, but also he was actually deporting citizens that were immigrants as well. So now he's just going after American citizens. So this is going to be chaos as you have never seen before in your entire life. I'm going to tell you guys, the last thing I saw when we did the video on Monday, let me say some things about the last two videos, because normally, you know, I talk about a lot of things. The last two videos, we talked about race, and we talked about how blacks are tired of other blacks and the black fatigue ordeal. And, you know, we talked about so many things. Well, let me say this. There was a lot of controversy even on Monday's video. Oh, yes, honey. I had some racist people come in the comments as well. Let me just say this, guys, and I want to make sure that I'm saying this so that people can understand what type of channel this is. This is not a channel that we race bait or we try to amp up emotions over nonsense. That's not what this channel is about. And secondly, for me, like I said in my previous video, I feel like there's good and bad in every race. Do I hate white people? No, I don't hate white people. Do I think all white people are bad? No, I don't think all white people are bad. Just like I don't think all black people are good. You know, I think, like I said, there's good and bad in every race. So let me make sure I get that out there, because I'm not one of those people that just say things and then not think about how people are taking it. In fact, there was a lot of people questioning, you know, are you racist as a black person? Are you just strictly pro-black and this and that and the third? Listen, I do, of course, I love my race. I wouldn't trade that for nothing, okay? However, I'm not racist. I don't see color when I can get along with really any race, you know. In fact, I have had some good people to come in my life that were white, Latino, black, Mexican, the nicest, coolest people that you could ever meet. In fact, one of my friends from high school was white, and we are still connected as of today. So trust me, honey, it has absolutely nothing to do with black against white, but the ones that I talk about are the ones that typically show themselves out in public on camera. The ones that, you know, they have a disdain for black people. And so those are the ones that I highlight, okay? I don't think, like I say, all white people are bad. I don't think all black people are bad, or any race, okay? So I just wanted to kind of make that clear, because I think there's some misconceptions. But I do stand on what I said as far as what they do to provoke African American people. And again, there are some things that we can do as a people too that I feel like we can improve on as well. All right, so I just want to go ahead and throw that out there. Now, let's go ahead and get into the first subject at hand. The first thing we're going to talk about is this idea that is floating that Trump is thinking about now deporting American citizens. Let's look at this CNN clip. Once it's over, I'm going to let you know my 2 cents as far as what I feel about all of this. And once it's complete, we'll dissect this video and I'll tell you exactly what I think may happen because of this.
Deportation Net to include American citizens.
But we also have a lot of bad people that have been here for a long time. People that whack people over the head with a baseball bat from behind when they're not looking and kill them. People that knife you when you're walking down the street. They're not new to our country. They're old to our country. Many of them were born in our country. I think we ought to get them the hell out of here too. You want to know the truth. So maybe that'll be the next job that we'll work on together.
Now, keep in mind, the DOJ is also now threatening to strip naturalized citizens of their legal status for committing certain crimes. All of this comes as Trump is touting the opening of what he's calling Alligator Alcatraz, an immigration facility surrounded by swamp and predators that holds 3,000 people. Republicans are touting it as low cost, complete with water, sewage, and power, and critics call it inhumane. Despite all the sort of theater of the Alligator Alcatraz of it all, Trump's comments today were really stunning, honestly. American citizens, he's talking about people who were born here and threatening to, put them in a deportation facility, deport them, take away their citizenship. What are we talking about here?
I mean, he even talked, I think, when he was with the El Salvadorian president about needing more prisons there for things like this. I mean, it's beyond, if you were to make a list of outrageous things Donald Trump was going to do, I don't think this would even have made it on the list. It is so just crazy. But the thing is that crazy things that Donald Trump says come to fruition. He will just do whatever he thinks. And now that this is in his mind, it's truly frightening that he might actually move forward and try to make a penalty for a crime being deportation for people who were born in this country.
Well, it's not being deported and dropped off. I think what he has raised is the idea that we'll house some prisoners in a prison in another country. Now, I have no idea whether this is legal or constitutional.
It's not legal or constitutional.
And I'm sure that'll be debated out, and if it's not, then it won't happen. But what he is saying is, if you have extremely violent populations that need to be housed in a prison somewhere, what's the difference between housing them in a prison here or there? Other than the debate, I guess, over the legality of it, but that's what he has been raising.
Other than a pesky little thing called the law.
And
I mean,
citizens.
I don't think
Under
what authority would a president of the United States be able to deport American citizens to the jurisdiction of a foreign country, even for committing crimes?
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what the legality of it is. I don't know if the Department of Justice has issued a memo on it. Just for the purposes of this conversation tonight, what his point was, if you have extremely violent populations that need to be warehoused in a prison, he raised the idea of putting them in a prison.
We deal with extremely violent populations just fine.
I just think that I don't think you can I don't think you can avoid what Alligator Alcatraz is. I mean, I don't think you can just turn a blind eye to it. I think it's anti-American. I think the fact that you're going to have individuals and populations in there that are stacked on top of each other, many of whom without due process. And let me just also say this before it runs on clips throughout social media, is that I don't think there's going to be any Democrat in this country, including myself or you, Christine, who says that if you have committed a violent crime or any crime whatsoever, you shouldn't be deported. We're not saying that. You should be. However, the fact that Donald Trump this morning said you should learn how to swim sideways. I mean, there are certain things about this country and the virtues of it. And the reason that Donald Trump and others are able to build Alligator Alcatraz is because of the simple fact that you don't give people the benefit of their humanity. I also think that, look, if we want to have a conversation about who belongs where, when, how, and whether or not their citizenship status, and we want to look at everything, I mean, I would look at Donald Trump Jr. I mean, I would look at all of Melania's kids, all of Ivania's kids. I mean, let's just have a full conversation over who belongs here, how do they get here, their citizenship status. Let's just have a full discussion about all of it. Why is that not on the table right now? I mean, the only person here should be Tiffany Trump if we're going to have this discussion.
Can I ask you, Pete, to respond to what Bakari said about the humanity of it all? The idea that because you're an undocumented immigrant, we don't know who they're going to put there. You know, we already know that a lot of the people that they're detaining don't have criminal records. Where is the humanity And what place does it have in this conversation?
We'll have to see how many people actually end up there. I think part of this facility is to try and incentivize those who are here illegally to self-deport, to say, hey, you don't want to be here. You don't want to go to Alligator Alcatraz, so you should probably just leave the United States of your own accord. The DOJ memo is very interesting, going back to talking about legalities.
About denaturalizing
We can
citizens.
denaturalize citizens. That is a law on the books. So the DOJ is looking to prioritize the enforcement of America's existing laws. There was an instance just earlier this year where somebody had their citizenship revoked, I can't even say the word. It happened because they were convicted of distributing child abuse materials.
Yeah,
It's something that can happen.
It is something that can happen, but it's something that is relatively rare and is usually reserved for things like what you're describing there. But one of the things that's interesting about that memo is that it says, in addition to heinous crimes, right? I'm not sure there's a lot of dispute about the code and what it says about crimes being a case for denaturalization. But it also says cases referred by a U.S. Attorney's Office in connection with pending criminal charges if those charges do not fit within one of the other priorities. So that's basically any crime. Maybe you're caught with marijuana. Maybe you're caught with marijuana. That's any crime. The number 10. Any other cases referred to the civil division that the division determines to be sufficiently important to pursue. So I think when people look at this, they look at this as a carte blanche.
Yeah, it's totally
to
subjective.
just say, Zohran Mamdani, you're a naturalized citizen. You're a high priority for us. We'll take it away.
Right.
What are the guardrails here?
The
And you
courts.
just said it's a little loosey-goosey.
And she's right. You know, they're just trying to look for anything to get rid of any minority, you know. And I remember I was telling you about, I don't know, this is probably about a month ago, how we talked about, you know, is Melania Trump going to be considered? Y'all look back on that last video. I think it was like a month and a half ago. We had talked about people getting deported. ICE was, you know, going in and taking people away. And I made the comment, and they just made the comment tonight. Well, what about Melania Trump? She's an immigrant. What about J.D. Vance's wife? She's an immigrant. Okay. Now they're trying to find even little misdemeanors to try to get people on, to get them out of the country. So, you know, it keeps growing and growing and growing. And see, this is another thing. Donald Trump has been convicted too. So, I mean, so are we all going back then? Is he coming with us? Because the last time I checked, now I thought it was 39 felonies is what they said he was convicted of, allegedly. So is he going back to, I mean, where do you draw the line at? You know, how is it that you can get away with 39 felonies, but this person over here has a misdemeanor and they have to go back? You know, this is what we got to look at, guys. It's not going to be pretty if they start going into immigration and natural born and American citizens. This is going to really take the cake for a lot of people. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and switch gears, and we're going to talk about this new bill that he just passed and what will be some of the ramifications if this bill passes. A lot of people are concerned. A lot of people may lose health coverage, may lose some benefits. I don't know if they said Social Security, but I know medical is definitely one of them. So let's go ahead and listen in on this one, and we're going to chime in after it's over as well.
Quesadillas, and then there's Zaxby's giant chicken finger quesadillas, packed with their favorite.
President Trump's mega domestic agenda bill is one step closer to becoming law today. The U.S. Senate very narrowly passed the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill Act. 50 senators, all Republicans, voted for it. 50 senators voted against it, including every Democrat, 47, and 3 Senate Republicans. Those are Senator Susan Collins of Maine, Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky, and Senator Tom Till of Carolina. This tie vote activated one of the few constitutionally assigned roles of the vice president. So, Ohio's own Vice President J.D. Vance presided over the Senate and delivered the tie-breaking vote in favor of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. He also took to Twitter to extol its virtues, mainly, he said, for reducing illegal immigration, downplaying, quote, everything else, including, quote, the minutiae of the Medicaid policy is immaterial compared to the ICE money and immigration enforcement provisions, unquote, according to the vice president. This, as the bill will leave more than 15 million people in the U.S. without health insurance, according to CNN's analysis of previous
15 million people without medical coverage. 15 million.
Congressional Budget Office numbers and the updated bill text. So, what happens now? Since the Senate made changes to the House bill, it has to go back to the House for approval. That vote is expected tomorrow morning, but Senate Republicans acknowledge passing it could be complicated, and in the current 220 Republicans to 212 Democrats makeup of the House, Republicans cannot afford to lose more than 3 votes. Some House Republicans say they can't get on board with the significant changes the Senate made to Medicaid. They warn it will harm low-income families and rural health care providers. President Trump, though, did not seem worried earlier today about this bill getting through the House and onto his resolute desk.
If you're looking for a house, you should be looking for a mortgage.
You could mortgage in the dark.
It's a great bill. There is something for everyone, and I think it's going to go very nicely in the House. Actually, I think it will be easier in the House than it was in the Senate.
Discussed with our panel, T.W. Arrighi, Republican strategist. Trump today downplayed the concerns of Americans losing health insurance because of this bill. Take a look.
You've promised not to cut Medicaid, said this is all just targeting waste, fraud, and abuse. Are you saying that the estimated 11.8 million people who could lose their health coverage, that is all waste, fraud, and abuse?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's going to be a very much smaller number than that, and that number will be waste, fraud, and abuse. And if you look, they took a much more liberal stance on the Medicaid situation than they could have.
There are concerns, as I don't need to tell you, TW, that the Medicaid changes will hurt voters and could hurt the Republican Party come midterms. What do you think?
There is no doubt that there is a threat of that. As I've said at the very most macro level, anytime you touch Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, it comes with a massive risk. Remember George W. Bush in 2005, and I think today, with hindsight, we'd be like, man, I wish we passed that bill. It would have helped the Social Security Administration quite a lot.
The partial privatization you're talking about.
Yes, correct.
George W. Bush expanded Medicare, though.
Sure. And I think a lot of the Medicare expansions we're dealing with in this bill.
Sure.
And the 2 points that the Republicans have been trying to make, Thune, Johnson, and Trump, are this is more of a protection of it moving forward by making sure that the 1.4 million illegal immigrants are kicked off it, to make sure that there's work requirements that Democrats and Republicans have pushed for decades. And so it will be a political cost to that, but I think Donald Trump believes it's time to move on it if we're ever going to get our debt in line.
Of course, it now needs to go through the House. We had on Congressman Don Bacon from Omaha, from your home state of Nebraska, on the show yesterday. And he did not seem convinced that the Senate changes to Medicaid were good ones, that his more moderate, for want of a better term, group of House Republicans would embrace. Take a listen.
I think we'll have a hard time passing with some of the provisions that the Senate's put in there.
Would you vote no on this version?
Well, there's talk with a bunch of folks on the House side that we will modify this portion back to the House instead of back to the Senate.
What do you think is going to happen?
It's a great question with Congressman Bacon. I mean, could he go the way of Tom Tillis and voting no and, kind of not being beholden to his party, or will he sort of do a solid for Speaker Johnson?
He's already said he's not running for re-election. So.
He's not. He said that yesterday in Omaha. My guess is he will not be the deciding vote. He'll go with others. But look, there's one number that is hanging over this entire debate. That's 215 to 214. That's what this passed the House by in May. So it is as narrow as it can possibly be. I've been talking with the Republican leadership folks in the House this afternoon. They're worried about a couple things. One, the storms that have been rolling through D.C. this afternoon is likely to keep some members from potentially flying in tomorrow morning. So that could hold up.
Yeah, well, I was supposed to introduce a Congresswoman who's stuck in Pittsburgh right now, later on the show.
It's a real issue.
Yeah.
Number two, though, the SNAP benefits. SNAP, of course, is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, otherwise known as food stamps, and some big changes were made on that the House is not finding palatable, as well as Medicaid changes. So yes, there is history that the Senate always jams the House, so there's reason to believe that could happen again in a president's party. However, many House members are very resistant to some of these changes, so I don't know that we've seen the end of this yet, but the president obviously is pushing for it. He's not deep in the details. He wants it to be done. We will see, but the 4th of July is still a few days away, and I'm not sure the deadline will be made or not.
So they can only lose 3 Republicans. Yeah. Tom Massey of Kentucky is already a no. We know that because it doesn't do enough to cut the deficit. And then there are 3 House Republicans who are in districts that Kamala Harris won, including Don Bacon. So who knows?
There are many with rural hospitals and other things. Yeah. So there are some other issues.
So Ash,
let me just say this too, and I want to just to kind of interject just for a second. You hear what they said: SNAP benefits, Medicaid, Medicare. It's just going to make things worse. I mean, I just never understood when they say waste fraud. Why are you going after people's medical, benefits, for people to see a doctor, for people to go and get treated? People have terminal illnesses. Some people can't get their medicine. Some people have to have this stuff, man. Some of this is life and death for some people, and that's why I'm like, wasteful spending. And you're talking about SNAP benefits, food stamps for people, any type of public assistance they're going after, and they're trying to get rid of anything that's going to help the people that really need it the most. So you can see this is getting really, really bad. However, they are having a hard time passing this bill. So I'm kind of glad that the Democrats are trying to oppose and do what they can to fight against it, because if this goes all the way through, this is going to be devastating for a lot of American people. But we're going to keep our eyes open on this and keep a focus, because I feel like there's probably going to be some more changes a little bit later. But I just wanted to kind of shine the light on this because this just broke out in the last day or two, and I wanted to at least touch on that subject so people can be aware of what's going on. All right. But anyway, guys, I am going to shut it down a little bit earlier tonight, but I did want to at least get my video and, tell everybody again, thank you for all the support. We also had an additional 23 more people to join the channel from Monday to today. So again, welcome to all my new subscribers. I am so thrilled that you chose my channel, and I feel like you really are going to enjoy the content once you start seeing this on a weekly basis. I'm going to continue to keep bringing all the support and all the news to everyone, and all the people who's hung in there from day one. Thank you, thank you, thank you again for just keeping me as one of the, the people that you're looking at as far as a subscriber. I thank you for the support, the good and the bad comments. They all help, trust me. But anyway, guys, tomorrow again is for 4th of July. I am going to go back live tomorrow. Like I promised last week, there's going to be a special video that I'm going to do just for you guys. Okay, so tune in tomorrow at 8 p.m. I'm going live again for the 4th of July. All right, guys. So anyway, I hope everybody had a great rest of your night. If you enjoyed this content, please hit like, share, and subscribe. And also, if you can, please hit the notification bell. That way you won't miss any episodes as far as me coming on to YouTube. You won't miss me, and that way you'll always be alerted if a new video come through the live, or even if I do a regular video, you will be notified. All right, guys. All right, so I will let everybody go. See you tomorrow at 8 p.m. for the 4th of July edition with Sports and Politics with T. Everybody have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.